That should pop up. We are live. Excellent connection. That's what I like to see. This is AFL 2022 Finals Preview. Deal with that after. Cool. All right. Hello, YouTube listeners. Millions in attendance as per.
So you get every one of the games?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Oh, they can you just Google it. AFL match
Oh,
videos.
really?
Yeah, it's like they've got like a vault from every game from like 2012 onwards.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, let's do it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. G'day and welcome back to the Wing It Podcast. Welcome back to our finals preview. Well, not welcome back. Well, it's been a year, but welcome back. We're going to go through the 2022 finals series. We're going to go through a bracket first. So we're going to go through every single game, who's going to win it, who's going to proceed, etc., what we think. We're going to go through the biggest disappointments, what team's going to flop in this finals series. The dark horse, there's always a dark horse in the finals that always comes through a bit further. So we're going to see the dark horses this year, and then our grand final matchup and winner.
I've got a bit of a weird feeling about this final series.
So do I.
I feel like, because I think there's just... Geelong is definitely the best team right now.
Yeah.
The Demons obviously looking to go back-to-back, which is always difficult to do. Sydney are up there, and I feel like there's a huge drop-off from there. So you got... Brisbane have been really disappointing this season and somehow actually made the finals. It seems like they've not even been playing good enough form to make finals.
No.
You've got Bulldogs who scraped in by the skin of their teeth. Richmond who have been injured all year and still are a little bit injured. Dusty, still a question mark on him.
Imagine he comes back.
And you got Freo and Collingwood who were sort of...
Overachieved.
Lingering around that bottom four last year and just overachieved massively this year. Huge question marks on them. But I reckon... there's just going to be a dark horse.
Oh, there has to be, because like you said, it's very hard for Melbourne to go back-to-back with a short pre-season, etc. And there's a reason why, 4 teams are going back-to-back this century?
Yeah.
There's a reason why. It doesn't happen very often. So, like you said, Geelong's, it looks like the far and away, but that rest of them, who knows?
Who knows?
So, let's get into our bracket then. Let's talk about round 1 and what we're thinking straight off the bat for this week. So, Thursday night, we've got Brisbane and Richmond. I think this is going to be the first upset of the round. Actually, I don't know if it's an upset because I believe
Richmond
are favourites
at the Gabba.
So that shows there is disrespect towards Brisbane right now that everyone's thinking, and I'm with them.
Yep.
I think Richmond win this game 100%.
I'm thinking the opposite.
Wow.
I'm thinking Brisbane are going to take this one out. I don't have much faith in them past this point, but I feel like they're going to... Richmond have been the bullies for years.
Yeah.
Especially at the Gabba. They've really taken over Brisbane and not
taken
let them
the piss out of them.
Yeah, literally. They've just been their big brother who've really been dominating them for the last 4 or 5 years. And I think this is Brisbane's time to get up and about. They've been absolutely hounded in the media, especially Zorko, being told he should submit the captaincy and all this. But I feel like it's going to be a real turnaround for them. Thursday night at the Gabba, going to be packed out. I see Brisbane taking this one.
Well, they have to.
They have to.
We'll talk about it later, as I think they'll lose, but they have to win this game, Brisbane.
Yeah.
There is way more pressure on them than Richmond.
Yeah.
And what Richmond usually play pretty well when they're the underdogs in a sense like this.
And play well at the Gabba.
They do.
Won a premiership there.
They did. All right. Friday night game. You're going to be there. Is this correct in saying?
I will be there.
You will be there. Friday night. Demons versus Sydney at the G. This might be the game of the round, I think. This should be an absolute cracker. Sydney are so well coached. Always been a tough team, no matter where or when. Always been a tough team. Melbourne might still be the best team in the comp. I'm going to tip in you guys to win this game at home in an absolute 10 point game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be really, really tight, real finals energy, finals atmosphere. I feel like it really could go either way, though. It's really worrying me with this one. But I'm going to take the Demons. But honestly, I would not be surprised if Sydney win it.
I can see a Buddy just big game.
Yeah, I don't really see Buddy so much. I think Steve May's got a pretty good record on him.
Probably does.
But I see like an Isaac Heaney or a Tom
he needs
Papley.
to as well. So does he.
Yeah, they both need to step up, and I think they possibly could. Tom Papley, a little bit of a question mark whether he's going to get up for this game or not with concussion protocols. So we'll see how he goes there. And Sydney had a really tough game, last game of the season against the Saints, which it shouldn't have been, to be honest.
They should have been a percentage booster to get him to second.
Yeah, 100%. But they came out of that a little bit weathered, a little bit injured. So hopefully that's going to help the Demons. And I really feel like whoever wins this game will make the grand final.
Yeah, I can give you that too.
That's what I believe. So I feel like these are two really strong sides. And if the Demons go on to win this, there's not a game in this final series where we won't play at the MCG.
Yeah, that's the perfect
So
run.
that's huge.
That's a perfect run for you boys. On to Saturday afternoon. This game, I think, will be a one-way traffic for me. That's Geelong and Collingwood. Collingwood, as much as we loved them all year, I think they've completely overachieved and they've been well above their quota.
Yeah.
I think Geelong they just give them a bit of a reality check here, and I think a 40-plus win.
Yeah,
However, there is injury clouds over Geelong as well.
Yeah, Jeremy Cameron,
Cameron, the hamstring. Colin Chasney went out in the last game of the season injured, and so did Cam Guthrie.
Yeah, exactly.
They are three integral parts, especially the first two we mentioned. Guthrie and Cameron we mentioned. That's huge. Guthrie's our best midfielder and Cameron's their best player.
Well, that's the spine of the team right there.
That's huge.
So if they're coming in underdone, they will play, I guarantee
I'm sure they'll get up. Yeah.
But they'll come in underdone, I reckon. And it'll be huge for them if they're able to rest those players, beat Collingwood, and then get the week off.
This is their grand final.
That would be huge. Yeah, exactly right.
Because this is their grand final. To get Cameron that one game in 3 weeks, which he needs, This is their grand final. They win this, they're in.
Yeah, I see, like as you said, Collingwood going to be a really big disappointment in the finals. Ended up making top 4, which is phenomenal. I only saw one media outlet actually call that, which was the Winger podcast. So bit in that actually. But no, I see Geelong really taking care of business and really, as you said, exposing Collingwood with a 40-plus point win.
Completely agree. Now, this game, I'm actually most excited for the round-up for this game. This was originally on a Sunday, I think. Now I moved to a Saturday night.
Yep.
Thank God. Freo and Doggies. This is going to be awesome, I think. Because I think the Doggies are who knows? They made a grand final last year and they're actually better and healthier this year.
Yeah.
Like they are win-wise better.
And the 2 grand finals they've made in the last 50 years, I believe, have both been from outside of the top 4.
They're a wild card. They've got so many star-factor players on their team. And they come up against Freo, who have been very, very good at all year, very good at home. And I think behind Sydney are probably the best coach team in the league. So I think Freo win, and I think Freo can go all the way. But I think this could be a cracker game.
I personally think this is going to be a very boring game.
You reckon?
Freo play the Bulldogs very well. All they do is clog the corridor.
Yeah.
And it's just a very well coached game when they played the Bulldogs earlier this year at Marvel, where Freo did take the win. And also, to add to this, Bulldogs have only won once at Optus Stadium.
Wow.
Ever. So, I'm going to take Freo to win this one in a very boring, low-scoring game where the Bulldogs aren't allowed to play that game. Interesting.
I think what excites me about this game is just the star factor that's on the field.
Yeah.
Fife and Mundy going at it with McRae and Dunkley and Treloar. This is good. This is a star game. Huge.
And Jamara Ugle-Hagan, if the Bulldogs are to upset Freo, I feel like Jamara is going to be a huge part of that and have a huge game.
He's taken over that Josh Bruce role and he has to kick 3 goals minimum, I think.
100%.
All right. So that moves on to the next round of finals, the semi-finals. So this will be the first game will be the winner of Brisbane and Richmond, which we've got a split tip on.
Yep.
And that will face the loser of Demons Sydney.
Yep.
So for me, that is Richmond versus Sydney.
And for me, that is Brisbane versus Sydney.
Yep, and I think we'll both say Sydney.
Definitely take Sydney in this one. I think Sydney would just be too strong. They're one of the best teams in the competition right now. So I feel like if they do this, they could easily still see a path to the grand final. But I think they come up against Geelong if they did win this, and that would be a really hard task for them.
That's it. But it puts Sydney into another prelim. And then on the other side of the card, we have the winner of Freo and Doggies, which we both believe Fremantle.
Yep.
Facing the loser of Geelong and Collingwood, which we both believe will be Collingwood. So we'll have Freo and Collingwood in the semi-final number 2. I'm taking Freo at the MCG to knock off Collingwood in straight sets.
Yep. Well, Collingwood this season been unbelievable in front of big crowds. They're 6-0 in front of 70,000 plus. So there'll definitely be 70,000 plus packed into the MCG. Probably
2 Freo players would have played over 70,000.
Yeah, literally.
Probably 2 players would have seen that many. That's Fife and Mundy. I don't think anyone else is from that grand final team still kicking.
No.
So,
and I reckon there'll be about 3,000 Freo fans at the MCG.
If that.
So it'll be loud as ever. Collingwood fans will be on their feet all game. So I could see them taking it in a close one.
Well, if it's close, they win, right? That's the story of their year.
Exactly right. But I'm going to take Freo in this one. Yeah. I feel like they would just be too good. And
too well coached.
Too well coached. And once again, expose this Collingwood team. But don't put it past Collingwood to win this.
No.
Honestly, at the MCG, they could be massive. But Freo this year only lost one game away from home.
That's
So
unbelievable because that's
they've
always
been
been
unreal.
their Achilles heel since
It
the day
has,
of their inception.
Yeah.
That is an unbelievable stat.
I believe they're actually 6-0 in Melbourne.
Yeah,
this
they
year.
are. This is
So
true.
they only lost one game outside of Melbourne, outside of Freo, as I said, and that was to the Gold Coast Suns. Funnily
Right.
enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Bit strange, but they've been huge away from home this year, and I feel like they're going to do that again and win in the MCG.
In finals, I've always said the contested key position players and contested players are what win your finals.
Yep.
Collingwood's a lack of both.
Yep.
I think will hurt them, and I feel. But the only thing that could save Collingwood in this game and this final series is Mason Cox. I'm not kidding. We've seen him in big finals before, take 11 grabs and just dominate games.
He's a big game player.
He's seriously. I want him at Port so fucking bad. He is really good,
Yeah.
and he could tear of that Fremantle defense, which is relatively small. They're not
Yeah.
huge, big, scary Stephen Mays or Sam Taylors on that team.
No.
They're relatively small. So he could have a game where he takes 8 marks, 100%.
He could definitely get that massive mismatch against like a Brendan Cox or
Yep.
Against a Griffin Lowe.
Luke Ryan, he's just going to towel the whole defense. This
Yeah.
could be an issue for them, but
Could be
that's
big.
it. All right, then we move on to the prelims. So that will leave us with Geelong playing Sydney in a prelim
Yep.
at the G,
Yep.
and then we'll have Melbourne playing Freo at the G. Wow, who would have thought those? Anyway,
Yeah, strange. Hey?
interesting. I think Geelong beat Sydney.
I agree, but it's a 50-50 tip for me.
Yeah, I think it's line ball. I think the fact that Geelong have that rest,
Yeah, that's-
with the
that's
older
the
list,
factor. Yeah.
and a fresher Cameron Guthrie, etc. It's the only thing.
Yeah, and they've got more players who have been there before as well.
And they're due a grand final again, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right. Sydney have limited players on their list, especially with the young players like Errol Goulden, Blakey, Warner, these players who've never won a final.
They're a wild card team, aren't
So
they, Sydney?
They could go one way or the other,
Yeah.
but I see Geelong just being too strong and making the grand final this year. I think you could honestly lock that in.
I think that's the only lock,
barring injuries.
barring injuries, 100%.
Which, if I could pick a team to bomb out of finals due to injuries, it would be Geelong as well.
Oh,
That's
100%.
what makes this final so interesting.
100%. Then on the other side, as we said, it would be Melbourne and Fremantle. You two played at the MCG in the middle of the year, and Freo put you to the sword in the end.
Yep.
Close first quarter, ended up winning by 30 odd from memory, and that broke your 11 in a row streak, whatever it was.
Yep.
They played you extremely well.
They did.
But you were due a loss.
Yep.
So I don't read too much into it.
True.
However, they probably played you better than most teams have this year.
And then later in the year, we played them at Optus Stadium
Mm-hmm.
and beat them by 60 points, I think.
See, there you go.
So it's really hard to tell. There is no side, as you said before, that's played us better this
Than
year
that
than
round.
Freo.
Yep.
Because they just coached so well against us.
So well.
The way to beat the Demons is very, very simple, in my opinion. Easier said than done, of course, but you tag Stephen May, which
Yep.
they did with Griffin Logue, and you
Yeah,
kick
they
the ball to grass, kick it to space. As soon as the ball hits the deck in our or in our defensive 50, we are the worst team in the competition at defending ground ball gets inside the forward 50.
You have been for a while too.
Yeah, exactly right. It was Achilles heel last year, our Achilles heel this year, and as soon as teams have done that, like Collingwood did to us, they've won. So I feel like Freo could outcoach us, but I think the Demons will get up. They've been there before. That factor's going to come into play, and we're going to get through the grand final against Geelong.
I don't know any stats to back this up, but I imagine the ball hitting the deck in Fremantle's forward 50, that'd be quite electric.
Yep.
Sonny Walters, Lucas Schultz, they're very handy around the goals, around the with the balls on the ground. So
One of the best teams at that.
that could really be the make or break for you guys in that game.
Yep.
100%. You're taking Melbourne. I'm taking Freo. I'm taking Freo to make the grand final. I said this a few weeks ago. If they got this dream run to the finals, which they have, I'll back them in, and I'm doing it again. So
Huge.
That leaves our grand final with you having Geelong and Melbourne, and
Yep.
me having Geelong and Freo. So consensus is Geelong makes the grand final.
Yeah, and I think it could easily be Geelong versus Sydney here. They're the two teams, I think, or the three teams that could make the grand final, I believe. It's either Demons, Geelong, and Sydney.
Yep.
In some sort of order. And yeah, I think Geelong Demons, and unfortunately, I think Geelong will probably take it out.
They look too good. They look too good. All right.
Hard to put past them.
Let's talk about the biggest disappointment from this final series, if it goes to plan as we believe. One for me, I'm going with straight away is Brisbane. This is all chips in for Brisbane now.
Yep.
If they cock up another final series with this same list, same coach, same everything, which it's not getting, it should be getting there now.
Yeah, exactly. They've had the finals experience. They've been around the mark.
There's no excuses anymore. And the way they've played in the last 6 to 10 weeks has made me go, I have no confidence in them whatsoever. And I think Richmond are just going to bully them again.
Yeah.
And then the season over again. when they've had another home final they've lost. They've made how many prelims in the last 3 or 4 years? They made 2 at least, and it's getting ugly now.
It is, yeah. It's really worrying for them.
It's getting ugly.
They become the straight sets lines, and you really don't want to build that reputation,
No.
especially with a franchise or a team that's had such great success, especially in the early 2000s.
And this team's primed right now.
They
You've
are.
got Brownlow medalists, you've got McCluggage becoming a star, all Australians defence, all Australians in the forward line. There's no excuses.
Players are stepping up, and Charlie Cameron, extremely successful in finals as well.
Yep.
Averages 3 goals a game in finals for Brisbane.
It's a good punt.
And actually, no other Lions player averages more than a goal a game in finals.
Wow, so it's Charlie Cameron show and that's it, eh?
Exactly
and Hibbert
right.
and Dano just look like doofuses.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think they lose first round. You think they lose second round. I think that both still equals a disappointment season again.
100%.
So they're one of the biggest disappointments. For you, how are you going with your biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment is going to be Collingwood.
Not in terms of the season, but the finals.
The finals, exactly, yeah. We've harped on about it. They're great in close games. They do play finals footy.
They do.
All year. They've played that hard contested, close-knit games, but I don't see them winning a game, to be honest. I think they'll go out in straight sets. They're going to be hard to beat at the MCG for sure, and I feel like Freo will be able to do that just from a coaching standpoint. But the thing that really worries me about them is their lack of talent in the areas you need.
Yeah.
Their midfield is just Pendles.
It's just average.
It's just Pendles.
Yeah.
There's no one else in that midfield that I trust.
No.
They throw Dacos in there sometimes. He looks a little bit overwhelmed. Steele doesn't really have it anymore in the midfield. And Crisp has just not been what he has been in previous years.
Yeah, very underwhelming this year.
And they don't, once again, they don't have that key forward.
No, that's the issue. It has to be Cox.
Yeah, my check has never kicked 5 goals in a game.
I think it's 4, isn't it? Anyway,
Yeah, he's kicked 4, I think, but he's never kicked 5. He's just one of those players that's never really stepped up. He's quite consistent, but I feel like it's just going to really let them down in the finals.
He can't take a game by the horns.
No, exactly right. And after finishing top 4 and playing that finals brand of footy all year, I see them going out straight sets.
100%. I completely agree. The one thing that I will say about Collingwood is they don't have that key position player, as we've mentioned. The one thing they do have for this really young team is finals experience.
Yep.
You've got Steele and Pendles who've won for grand finals.
Yep.
And a good, maybe, I want to say 6 or 7 more players who played in that 2018 grand final.
Yep,
Maynard, Moores, Mycheks, etc.
Yep.
They're probably, and they've played in front of big crowds. However, you're right. I think the key position players is just, that's all I need to be said.
Yeah, exactly.
And contested players. Who's going to get the hard ball for them? I don't see anyone. They're all outsiders. They're like crows. They're all outside players in the midfield.
Lacking Taylor Adams as well, who's their best contested midfielder.
Their only one. That's the issue. Gee, Treloar would be nice to have right now, wouldn't he?
Not right.
Anyway, on to then our dark horse. Who's going to surprise this year? And I'm taking Freo clearly. I think they make it to the grand final. So I think they are the absolute dark horse. Everyone's going to underestimate them, and I think they can go all the way. 100%. Who's your dark horse then?
I'm going to take Sydney, which is strange that they're a dark horse. Finished 3rd this year. One of the best teams in the competition, but no one's spoken about it.
No.
And I feel like that's one of the things that's going to drive them over the line is that no one's talking about us factor and everyone's underrating us and everyone thinks we're going to lose to Melbourne in the first round. But I feel like they're really going to push their way through games, play their brand of footy and not let teams play their brand of footy as well. And that's going to get them probably to the grand final and even to win a grand final, which would be awesome to see, I reckon.
I completely agree. What do they have that every team needs? Contested players? Got them.
Yep.
Two-way running? Got it.
Got it.
Key to position players everywhere? Got it.
And game winners.
Game winners.
You look at Chad Warner, Errol Goulden,
Isaac Heaney.
Buddy Franklin, Isaac Heaney.
Oh.
There's these players who can be unguardable.
That defense, the McCartan brothers are just, stats-wise, don't look at their disposals, but the way they play, they are locked, they are fantastic.
Yep.
You throw in Rampy, who's been there before, they got experience.
Yeah. They got a great mix of youth, exuberance, and experience.
They're kind of like 2008 Hawthorn, where it was like a bunch of old heads in the Crawfords and whatnot, and the Brad Sewells, and these young kids in Roughhead, Jordan, Mitchell, all them. This is a very similar build like that. You've got the Parkers and whatnot coming through with Buddy, and then you've got these young guns like Warner and all, and they're just exciting.
Yeah.
Completely exciting. All right.
Massive.
So that's a grand final. That's our dark horse. We then have the grand final matchup.
Yep.
I'm taking the Cats to beat Freo.
Yep.
And you're going to take?
I'm taking Cats v Sydney or the Demons.
Yep.
I'd love to say the Demons, but I really see Sydney making it. I'm pretty high on them this year, but I don't know. I think the Cats will be too good regardless of who they meet there, and I think it'll be a good grand final, but I just see the Cats taking it out.
Love it.
Agreed.
Another episode done.
Too easy. Hopefully it's a good final series. We'll catch up with you throughout the final series and afterwards to do a wrap up. And also stay tuned. Look out for our end of seasons award episode as well.
We love doing that.
Which is always good fun. And we'll do a bit of a reaction on what we thought was going to happen at the start of the season and see how comically wrong we were.
No, we've been very good this year, so I think we'll be all right. All right. Thank you very much for listening, and